So welcome to this introduction to Kerbal. This introduction is meant for these people that don't know how to get a rocket into orbit and are struggling on building rockets. I would like to cover the basics from basic rocket building up to going to the moon and back if I can in proper time. So a lot of people, when they are building the rocket, they just pick like this, something like this, a capsule, a big tank, because it looks very big, and an engine. Which one looks very big? This one looks very big. They go like that. They launch. And this one might roughly work, but is quite suboptimal. And a lot of people struggle to do this. So for example, this is not what a rocket should look like. So yes, this looks quite good. Like it looks like we are getting somewhere. Okay, trying to turn. And here it is. We can see that we don't reach orbit. This rocket properly driven, you could, if you pilot it properly, you can get into orbit, but it's difficult because the rocket is not what it should be. So what I would say is, for starting, instead of working with career and so on, give a try to the sandbox. So here we select new game, sandbox, basics to the moon. And the good thing in sandbox is that we have access to everything. We don't have to worry about the money, about missions, about science. So we can focus on building rockets. So the first thing that we need to understand is staging. So we want to build things that are small, like this. So don't go overboard, don't go on things like this, don't choose things like that to start. So go with the smallest one. This capsule is very good. Put a parachute, just in case. And then staging, this is the important part. This needs to be staged. So coupling, and now a full tank. So here is the basic idea. The top parts are supposedly meant to be in orbit. So this is the last part that will be working. So we want here to choose an engine that is good for maneuvering in orbit. So maybe the swivel, for example. This is a very good engine. Okay, this engine, so you have to see here the thrust in atmosphere and thrust in vacuum, or here, the ISP. 250 in atmosphere, 320 in vacuum. This is with right button. Because, for example, this one will launch and will work. It doesn't get stuck to orbit, but it works in atmosphere. It's not optimal for atmosphere, but it works. This one does work in atmosphere. So here, for example, this is 250 to 320. This is the efficiency of the engine. This is kind of in a car, the miles per gallon or liters per kilometer, something like that. It's a measure that the higher it is, in this case, the better. So if we want this part of the rocket to run in atmosphere, we need to focus in the first part. For example, this one is for vacuum. We can see that in vacuum has 345, is better than this one, than the one that we have, which is 320, but in atmosphere is 85, which means that it is way worse. So if we put the Terrier, see here that says Terrier, this one barely works in atmosphere. Okay, you can see that it doesn't lift off. If you want to get those things better planned and to make Kerbal easier, you can use this mod, which is the Kerbal Engineer Redux. And this basically gives information here, which we can know here the thrust to weight ratio, we can know the ISP, and we can switch to atmospheric, and we know that at 0 kilometers at sea level is 85 ISP, and then as you increase the altitude, increases the ISP. So you can get an idea on the engine, which is the minimum altitude as a working, is going to be working. If you don't have the mod, then on the right, you can click and it says ISP, 85 seconds, thrust, and thrust to weight ratio. This now here, this is calculated for atmosphere, as I'm seeing. There is a way, which I don't recall here. You can set it to sea level or vacuum. So we can see that at sea level is 85, vacuum is 345, and thrust to weight ratio 1.02. Right? So, okay, what this means is that this rocket for space is very good. So once we are up into the orbit and we want to start circularizing, this is very good. But if we want to reach orbit and want to launch, this is not a good rocket to launch. But it's not a matter of changing this into a bigger engine or something like that. We need two states, because this part is good for the upper part of the atmosphere. We need a second part, which is good for the lower part of the atmosphere. So we stage here, and now as we go down, we should get bigger and bigger. Like, it should be kind of double. So we put a tank, something nice, and the tank here, something like that. And now we find an engine that is good for this. It's good at sea level, so right click, and we see that this is 280, 285. Which one else? 295. Yeah, this one 290. So probably this one is one of the best ones. Problem is that with one of those, question is, do we have enough thrust to weight ratio? So we can open here. We set it in sea level, thrust to weight ratio is 293. So thrust to weight ratio, it should be above 1. So this is how many times the weight of the rocket is able to lift. So if it says 1, it says that it's able to lift the same weight of the rocket. So that means that neither goes up or goes down. So it's not able to lift it. But anything above 1 is going to be able to accelerate up. So something like 1.20 is enough. 1.5. Sure, that's good. If it is too much, if it is like 4, 5, 6, we might run into a problem because we might accelerate too fast, or we are just putting too many engines, and also the engines have also weight. So this is a problem of balancing weight. So if we put too many engines, we are carrying too much weight, and those are losses. We need to cut losses. So 293, that's more than enough. So I'm going to put another tank. Okay. And now it's 2.57. Okay. Then, is this rocket going to get into orbit? Is the next question. Well, you will have to get into orbit is 3,500 meters per second, or 3,500, is the minimum required more or less in most launches. If you are beginning, I will recommend like 4,000 or 4,200 to get into orbit. So you have a lot to play with, because you don't want to be short on fuel the first time. So let's put this here, so it's stable. So how much this has? You have it here, around 4,000, but this is set in sea level. In vacuum, 7,000. So in reality, you have 3,000 plus 3,700. So yes, around 6,000, more than 6,000. So this is more than enough to enter into orbit and do a lot of stuff. This simple rocket, you don't need much more. So let's give it a try. Another thing that is useful to do is to carry electricity. You can use those inline ones, these are very nice, like that. In here we can carry another one. I mean, in fact that's not needed, that will be too much. We can put a smaller one just in case. What else do we need? We need also control authority. So the ability to turn the ship, because if you don't put anything else, you will be only able to turn the ship while the engine is running, because it has vectoring, so the engine moves left and right. So to add that, you come here, the inline stabilizer. This is the best thing, the easiest thing to do. So put one here, and you can pick the large one in here, for example. Okay. Okay, we have a parachute to come back, and that will be it. Let's give it a try. Okay, we enable SAS with T and launch. First we leave it go upward. And then we need to turn to the right, slightly to the right, so with very small clicks. See, this is now bouncing back and forth. This is because the joints are having problems here. So we are not going to space. So let's go back and fix that. There is another problem, which I'll discuss shortly. So first, to remove the bounciness, we get the strut connector. And we connect, so we can click here for symmetry. And from here to here. If you enable in the settings the advanced properties, you can also here right click and set auto strut heaviest part. Or in reverse, here you can right click auto strut root part. And it will create internal struts to remove this. So this is one thing. The other thing is that the center of mass is here, but the center of lift, well, there is no center of lift in this. Yeah, it's on top. So the problem is that when this thing turns, if this is not properly facing to the airstream, the air is going to make the rocket turn around and face backwards. So for this we need kind of small winglets, something like that. And we can see that the center of lift has come behind the center of mass. Could use, for example, a strake, for example, like that. Let's put it properly aligned. And now we can use that to put the wings in here. Now it's well behind. This will make it stable. So this blue one, which is the center of lift, needs to be behind the center of mass. This is the critical part. This is the same as for planes. Okay, let's get going. Let's go up. Okay, we gained a bit of a speed. Now we go slightly to the right. So click right, just small clicks. Make it go east in this case, going towards 90 degrees heading. Which is the easiest way to get into orbit. Okay, we need to keep an eye on the apoapsis. Stop. When the apoapsis is already out of the atmosphere, which is 70, we can already slow down. And keep moving to the right. Because the rocket does not get into orbit just by going up. Up doesn't end you into orbit. You get into orbit by going sideways. But to go sideways, first you need to get rid of the atmosphere. So we get up just to avoid the atmosphere, to skip it. And once the atmosphere is already behind us, we just turn and we go sideways. Okay. We can go faster, for example. Now we are out of the atmosphere. Okay, now We are out of fuel. So now we change the states. And hit again to start the engine. Okay, stop there. Now the easiest way here is to go to the apoapsis and open a new maneuver node. And increase until the AP here, apoapsis, gets into periapsis. So increase, 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 periapsis. That's it. Okay. Now we can hit here the button to get into the maneuver. So we'll do it for us. You can see that we are using electricity. And now we go to the next maneuver node. You see here, start burn in 50 seconds. Can move forward. And then I tend to burn when it says 10. It says 10, I start burning. Okay, we're getting there, so now we start removing the throttle. And cut. Confirm. We can see on the map if we got it right or not. Apoapsis 164, periapsis 125, not bad. Okay, now we want to get down. So we just reached the orbit. So usually if we want to get here, opposite, we burn in reverse. Okay, until the periapsis is something like 25, 35, depending on how hard you want to hit, but you want to go something like that, 32, to avoid burning. Then it should be the periaps a bit before, something like that. So then I can change the maneuver. Can fast forward a bit. Now start burning. And now we need to carefully stop at the right place. So go very slow. To get exactly the periapsis that we wanted. More or less, okay. I overshoot, 28. That's okay. Okay, so now we go forward until we touch the atmosphere. Okay, now we don't need the other part anymore. We're going down. So states, phase retrograde, on surface mode. And stage again to enable the parachute. So now it's what's called armed. Exactly. Now it is armed. So now we go faster. And this capsule, if it doesn't have more weight to it, just by its own, it shouldn't need a shield or anything like that. Should not burn. Okay, we can see that the apopsis and the periapsis have shrink because we are killing a lot of velocity using the atmosphere on the re-entry. The speed is decreasing, that's good. Okay, let's speed it up a bit. Okay. Here comes the parachute. And this parachute is also enough for just the capsule. If you got more material, you need more parachutes, but for just this, the basics, more than enough. Okay, let's settle down. So we can recover Zebedia. Zebediah. Okay. This isn't that difficult to get into space and back. One of the critical things is knowing a bit of aerodynamics. So the rocket needs to be streamlined, needs to be, all the edges need to be soft. So don't do things like this. Try to put something with a ramp in the middle. Because the game actually computes that. So, and it knows that you will have more drag, so you will have more losses. So, okay, let's see for something to the moon. So, I want to get to the moon and back. So the idea should be the same. Like I'm just going to use the basic capsule. Parachute, exactly as before. And the staging, stage up to here. Okay, next, what I need next? I need to be able to get out of the moon. And get back to orbit, to Kerbal. So for that, maybe this and the small engine. Maybe this is 320, should be good enough. Now, the key thing is, can this lift from the moon? So in here, well, I'm going to do it without the Kerbal engineer. In here, body is curving. I want the moon. So then here says thrust to weight ratio 3.66. That looks very good. And this gives me to 8,000. That sounds more than enough. So now we need something to like legs. So let's pick the lighter ones. 4 is good. We'll need stabilizer. We'll need electricity. Another one, just in case. Okay. Recheck. 339 steel. 2500 meters per second on delta V. Okay, sorry. One second. Okay, that was the problem. Okay, where was I? Before a giant mosquito entered my room. Yeah, so this will be enough. Okay, so then right click, start retracted. We don't want that. And now we need to stage that. Yeah, we need to stage that like that. So there is a lot of people that are a bit complaining on this not matching. I mean, it's not ideal, but in such a small space, there is a simple fix. Well, probably a simple fix. So we can put a strut over here and problem solved. Now, this part is for circularization and from getting from the Kerbin to man. So we need something like this. And we could choose, for example, Poodle. Poodle is very good, but it has very small thrust. So this could cause problems. So the Poodle one is going to give us the best amount of delta V, but maybe not enough thrust to weight ratio. So you will see here that thrust to weight ratio in the moon, that's in the moon, 5.45. So in here, in Kerbin, that's 0.90. So I would say it's enough. So that's 4,000. So we'll be using around 2,000 for circularizing, I guess. And then we'll have another 2,000 to go to the moon and do the first part of the braking and landing. The first part, then we'll dump it and rely on the other one. Next, we are going big. Now we need here another 2,000 delta V to get this into suborbit. So we grab the bigger tanks, around 2,000, I mean, shouldn't be. And then the best engine for this is this one, all in one. So yeah, I see here 2,000. That's roughly what I wanted. And are we Kerbin? Yes. Sea level, yes. 2,000. Yeah, that looks good. We could put more tanks, but that could barely get us there and back. Then let's put here also traction wheel and an extra of battery. Another thing that can help us keep the battery power is put a few solar panels, maybe just 2, so we can keep it charged. Okay, let's put this, and that's good. By the way, if anyone in the chat wants to ask anything on how to build rockets, feel free. I'll do my best to answer any question. If there is no question, I will fly this thing into the moon. Okay. Let's see how well this flies. So, because I didn't put any kind of ailerons or wings on the backside, I don't want to turn this thing until we are up very up of the, on the atmosphere, because if not, it will turn around. Okay, let's stop because I'm seeing that we are up enough. Yeah, this is 94, 95. Okay, let's cut and wait a bit until we reach, I don't know. Hello, the best Cushy Cushy. It's going well. I'm just trying to do a basic explanation on how to build rockets and how to go to the moon and back. Yeah. So yeah. Distro. Use Debian. Debian GNU Linux is on testing with bits from unstable and other bits from stable, but 90% is testing. The games, most of the games are running on Steam, and I don't care much. So yeah, going back to Kerbal a bit. Now I can point laterally and start burning this way until we run out of fuel. Okay, states. Start. Okay. Cut the engine. And now let's do another node. Maybe I don't have enough time to do this. Yeah, start burn minus 40 seconds, so that's not going to work. So instead, okay, let's point prograde. I'm going to abuse a bit the Kerbal engineer. So the problem is that this doesn't have enough thrust to weight ratio. So we'll need to point a bit upwards. No, I'm not Greek. You're not the first one that says if I'm Greek. They are usually, they say that either Greek or Italian. No, I'm Spanish. I'm from Valencia. Currently living in Dublin, working for a company in IT. And yeah. Okay, I'm looking at the time to apoapsis. It is increasing. Now that means that we are good. Now it's decreasing at the orbit. So I will leave it a bit more pointing upwards. Now it's increasing, so something in the middle. Okay, maybe. Went a little bit now. Yeah, it's increasing. That looks good. Oh, so you mean that you are Greek? Nice, nice. In my previous job, I was working with well, a coworker was Greek, and it was a very great guy. I still have to meet him again because after COVID and so on, he was, well, he's with his family and didn't get a chance to try to meet him. But yeah, very nice guy. He lived in Madrid for 3 months in 2018. Yeah, I mean, Madrid is very nice place if you did not see other places in Spain. I mean, it depends on what do you like. I'm from a very small city. It's called Ontinyent. It has around 30,000 people. And then when I go to Madrid, it feels overcrowded. It feels too rushed in everything, and I have been there several times. I have been traveling to Madrid a lot, and it's a pain to get in the with a car over there to drive, and it's a pain. I don't know. The people. I don't know. I don't know. People is nice, but they are always rushed. So I prefer the small places. I prefer Valencia. I prefer much more Dublin. Another type of stuff. But yeah, have other people from other countries that tell me that travel to Madrid and they love it. Okay, this is still below atmosphere, and this is 137. So yeah, for example, Barcelona. I have been only in Barcelona when I was a kid, but I loved it. I loved it. When I was a kid, I was loving it. So you want to visit somewhere else? I would recommend give it a try to Barcelona because it's very, very nice. Okay, now before I forget, let's deploy the solar panels. And Greece, by the way, it also looks very, very good, but never been there. That's also my to-do list for traveling once we can travel normally. But yeah, you get what I mean. Yep, we got this. Yeah, I don't want to go to Greece to go to a capital. I want to go to somewhere, I don't know, to a beach, to somewhere touristic, but not massive touristic, like something like is small, cozy, something like that. I don't know. I feel that there is a lot of places like that in Greece. Italy is also full of small places that are lovely. That's also in my to-do list. Elaphonisus. Oh, your names in Greece, they sound so vocal. Oh, wait a second. Got the giant mosquito again. Wow! Giant mosquito 0, David 1. And I'm no longer knowing what I was doing. I guess it doesn't matter. Okay. It's good enough. So yeah, there are kind of giant mosquitoes that they are like this. It's kind of a mosquito, but like that. But it's not a mosquito. It looks like a mosquito, but it's not a mosquito. It's a fly. It's a kind of a fruit fly. So they don't do anything to us. So they can fly around and they can do whatever they want. They don't bite. But they look kind of scary. They look kind of scary, and I get a bit annoyed. Well, my girlfriend freaks out on that as well. So yeah, had to take him out. And the fact is that there was one that entered like, I don't know, 20 minutes ago, and I thought I get rid of him. And now I'm not sure if this is a different one or if it is the same one. So I hope it's the same one and I killed him. But yeah, as my girlfriend says, they look like planes. Mosquitoes with the size of a plane. I should get back to this. Okay, so we want to do a transfer to the moon. So set a target. Ensure that this descending node or ascending node, doesn't matter, is near 0. Looks good, 0.5. If not, we need to correct it. So I'll do a sample correction. So if the ascending node, we need to go down. So anti-normal, so it's pointing down. And then wait until we get close to the mark, but not very close. Now they will go through it. And start burning. We'll see that it starts reducing. 0.3, 0.2. You can wait now to get closer. 0.1, 0. Now we are perfectly aligned. This is for aligning both orbits. So they are both now in exactly the same plane. Now we need to do the transfer. To do the transfer, usually you put the moon on the right side of Kerbin, and then you put the node on the bottom of the orbit here. Put the node and start increasing until we reach the transfer. So it should, here it is. So that's the transfer. Okay. Now let's just review that the periapse in the moon is reasonable level, like, okay, 25 kilometers. Okay, that would be okay, but for beginners, I will say, like, okay, make it a bit bigger, like 60, 80, okay, so you don't run so close to the moon. Now, let's prepare the barn. Change the music. This sounds a bit sad. A bit of electronic, maybe. Okay, we are 40 seconds away to burn to the moon. I think we have everything prepared. 24,000 meters a second. I think we are more or less on schedule, on the plan. Yeah, feels that it's as planned. As before, I will wait until it reaches 10 seconds and start burning. Okay, almost there, almost there. Let's start cutting the gas. 10, 5, 1. Okay, good enough. Let's review that we are set. Okay, here's the thing. Don't ask me why it happened, but I don't see periapse in this orbit. So this is something that needs to be reviewed. This basically means that if we go with that, we will end crashing on the moon. That's not what we want. Let's try a bit more. A bit more, bit more, bit more, and periapse. Okay, now we are set, so we can get going. Okay, we are getting there. And here is the orbit. Okay, so next step is closing the orbit, making it circular, so just the periapse, born in reverse, in retrograde, something like that. Okay. It's easier to use the maneuvers. Doing it manually is harder, and that's the problem with the campaign, that you don't get maneuvers at first, you don't get all this kind of assistance, and it's very hard at first. So it's better to start knowing what to do with the maneuvers, and then once you get an idea on how it should work, you can then do it by hand on the campaign, and then research the correct parts to unblock the maneuvers, to unblock all the types of assisted pilot. Okay. Warping. Okay, then the last 50 seconds, I'll do a manual warp. Slow. 10 seconds, increase thrust. Okay, we got orbit. And now... Okay, that should be good enough. Okay, so now we have a circular orbit. Circular, roughly. But we don't need a perfect circular orbit for this. We are just trying to land. So the best thing is to land in the sunny side of the moon. So in the inside part. Because, yeah, we didn't carry any kind of light, and the solar panels will be worthless in the shade. So let's play it easy and try to point for the sunny side. So around here, like, okay, let's go from the top. From the top. So we want to land over here. So we got a bit before. And reduce. Okay. Always try to... So it's better, for example, it's easier, not better. It's easier to do something like this and kill all the speed. It's better this than trying to do something like this. Because with this you use less delta V, but the problem is that by the time you are about to land, you are moving sideways, and it gets very complicated to do the landing properly. So the easiest way is try to counteract all the speed and get, well, don't go like that. That's not needed. That's even worse. So something like this, more or less. That's it ideal. So let's point. The mods like the Kerbal engineer can tell you where you're going to land, and then you have also trajectories mod, which also can tell you where you're going to land. So here is showing us the landing point. It looks good. So those two are two useful mods. I like them a lot. Because they don't change the actual game. The game is the same, but they do the calculation, so you can do your missions more accurately and see the actual numbers. And you can learn more. So I see them as a tool to learn the game as well. Okay, yeah, we have electric charge, we have fuel, this sounds good. Okay, let's start burning. Throttle up. Okay, done. Now, for the landing. If you have Kerbal Engineer, this thing is the best. The Suicide Burn is a very good guideline on how to do landings. If you don't, then you need to do more carefully, you will be using more Delta V. So basically, with the Kerbal Engineer, we just on the landing tab, we'll be looking into the Suicide Burn countdown. We are looking this to be around 20 seconds, something like that, to be safe. So let's go down. So first we warp down. Okay, 1 minute. And now retrograde on surface. Okay, and we can start throttling up. So if you're not using Kerbal Engineer, you want to look into the speed and burn the speed at a rate that, I mean, this feels safe. If you feel that it's going too fast, just throttle up and slow down. With the Kerbal Engineer, you can use the countdown as a guideline. So we can speed up. If this reaches 0, you are too late for braking. But we don't want to go suicide. So here is the actual Delta V spent, that we need to spend 300. And we have 700, so we have more than enough. So seems that we are going to land on the crater. Be careful on the warp, because every time I warp, this thing changes. Maybe misleading. Okay, it's going to land on the ramp, that's very bad. So the fact that we have extra Delta V, I'm going to move the landing point. Something like that. Now we wait. Yeah, we have enough electricity. Okay. Throttling up a bit. 17 seconds. 15, so we need to throttle down. And this doesn't have legs, so I need to stage. So first going to stage. Let's see. There. Nice. Now 7, 6, 5. Okay, gear down. Okay, here goes the states. That's good. We can hide a marker now. Now let's go slowly. We want a nice touchdown. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, once you are here, you can basically go EVA and let go, RCS, and you can have a nice walk on the moon. You can do text of a sample. This doesn't work. That doesn't do anything on sandbox. Plant the flag. And then go up. Board. Okay. Now let's get out of the moon and back to Kerbin. So because the moon is traveling in this direction, like right to left, then in order to fall to Kerbin, we need to go in the reverse direction to kill the speed and then fall. So to kill the speed then means go right. And going right means going east. So heading 90 degrees. So then I need to locate here where is 90 degrees. So north here, 90 degrees here. So then when I go, I need to go this direction, which is turning already. So let's get going. So we go up, gear up, and then... And the difference with Kerbin, we can already turn a lot and go sideways very heavily. So we can get very, very close to the horizon. If you go too down, then eventually it will fall. So once that is more or less set, okay, we can go a bit lower, since that we are still... The closer to the horizon, the more efficient it is. As I said, don't go too overboard or really end crashing. Now on the map, so we can see what we are doing. So we want to keep throttling up until we get kind of a suborbit with enough apoapsis that we are confident to circularize in time. So okay, 25 looks good. So we could start throttling down a bit. So that's more or less... Yeah, 60, 70,000. That sounds good. Now we can circularize here. A bit more. That's circularization. Okay. No, maneuver. Let's get to the node. One interesting thing here is that you can see that the aircraft is very small. There is almost no engine, almost no fuel, and it works very, very well, and it's going to get us very far. The reason is that it's very light, and the lighter it is, the more efficient it is. So making it very light, it works pretty well. Small tank, small engine, this works very well. But it works very well in space because you don't need much thrust. So that's why it works. Okay, throttling up. That should be good enough. Okay. Now, to get back, as I was saying, the moon is going here. In this case now, from this point of view, left to right. We want to go right to left. So one will say that we go here and speed up, accelerate in this direction. But as you can see, we accelerate in this direction and we end going down. So instead of accelerating on doing progress here, you do it around here. And then you're being sent to the left. That's what we want. So more, and moonscape. You'll see that's bringing the orbit down in Kerbal. So something like that. And as I add more delta V into the maneuver, you see that it starts pointing. I messed up here. It starts pointing more straight, so we need to correct the point. So it points left. And we need to check the periapsis. So the idea is that, okay, a bit less maybe. Okay, yes. 40, let's say 55. Let's play it nice and easy. Okay. So 266, nice. Okay, maneuver. So here you don't want to go straight into the atmosphere. So I'm just trying to get inside slightly. Maybe it's even too much. Because if you come from the moon, you come in with a lot of speed and you're going to burn up in the atmosphere. So the idea will be, okay, let's see. Barely touch it, or maybe, okay, let's see, even safer, don't touch it at all. And then from here we will correct this, so we need to bring these apoapsis down later. So okay, let's move to the next maneuver. Okay. Now we are 30 seconds away. Let's move a bit forward. 10, good enough. Throttle up. I don't want to do more than needed, because if another will enter the atmosphere. Okay, let's review. Periapsis 81. That's good. Okay, let's start warping over there. And still I have 14,000 meters second. Okay, entered Kerbal orbit. Now, what we want is to bring these apoaps down. Kind of circularizing again. So, let's bring this down. That looks good. Okay, to maneuver, auto warp. Okay, did one more loop, I don't know why, but that's good. That's good enough. So now we get to the point. I will be bringing the apopsis down. Okay, I see the periaps moving away from us. I can slow down. Okay, let's get closer. Bit of throttling up now. Too much. "29 seconds. This one is 2000. "37, I was getting away. Okay, now a trick for finishing this is, okay, go retrograde and get closer. And now, I don't know, 20 seconds or so, start throttling up a bit. And check that it doesn't go up, it goes up. So we need to wait more and get even closer. Okay, let's see, 10 seconds, 5 seconds maybe, no, 10 seconds. Throttle up. And it's going away very fast. Let's verify. 77, 74, that's very good. Now it's just the regular deorbiting burn. So, for example, We can use, for example, we can use a trajectories mod for this, just to show you what it does. So show trajectory. Then I want to get here to the Kerbal Space Center. So I add a maneuver, and then it shows me where I'm going to land. Then I point it. And this is doing a calculation. So again, I can state it a bit like that. So this is calculating everything. I think I should remove, close this. I cannot close that. So the problem is that it's calculating all the mass with all the drag. When with the couple, it will be way less mass with roughly the same drag. So this calculation will be off, but I mean, it's way better than doing it by hand, because you can see that the orbit, so if I remove the show trajectory, you can see that the orbit says that you don't land, you end here at 20 kilometers. But this is telling us that this is going to land over here. So let's try to do it and see how far we land from the Kerbal Space Center. Okay. Seconds, 10 seconds, let's burn. I don't need to burn very fast. That's a very small amount. 10, 9, slow, 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 slow. Okay. Okay, still protect the same thing, more or less. So let's go with that. Now, once we stage, it's going to change. It's a stage. I cannot from here. I need to stage from here. And now, yeah, you see. Now it's pointing way further. Here I could change the parachute to mean pressure 001. Altitude, I only need like 500 meters. Spread angle 10. Okay. Now it seems that we are getting closer to the actual, to what we wanted. It's correcting. So you see, it's giving us quite a good ballpark. I mean, it's not predicting the future, but it's quite good. This capsule, if you want to travel down, you could point it to the ground like that, and that will create a drag, a downwards lift. See, now we are towards the KSC, so let's put it straight. hopefully. We'll see where we land. It's burning much faster than it's computing. So we can increase now lift, for example. We could do this to increase the lift. Like that, I think. I think that creates lift. The rotation also counts. Yeah, still burning a lot. Yeah, behind the mountains. This is consuming electricity by the chance. So yeah. Another thing to have in mind. I'll remove trajectories already. Gonna speed it up. Okay, retrograde. Retrograde. I always get confused on pronunciation. Okay, to the ground. 1000, I said 500. And... oh, it was too low. But okay, you get the idea. I killed a Kerbal, but yeah. So yeah, that's more or less what I wanted to cover. There's not more. I mean, if you can create those kind of rockets, use the basic capsules, basic rocket like Mammoth, this for the freeze states, Puddle, this one, so get them from here. So Mammoth and Vector are ideal for the first states. Then you have things like the main shell or the skipper for a second stage if you want, or the Puddle if you don't need a lot of thrust to weight ratio. So Puddle is the most efficient one, but it doesn't have a lot of thrust. Then the classical ones, they swivel, they work well in a lot of scenarios. And then for traveling, once you are already in orbit, you have the Terrier. So this will be for the first states. We are talking about first stages with Terrier. This is a good engine for the last stage on the top. The Spark, that's the one that I used for small things. Very nice because it has only 130 kilos. Very lightweight. And everything else, I think for a beginner, there is not much need for them. Those are the engines that I will stick with. They are the most useful. And if you want to play with boosters, I would say use the big boosters, like the Kickback, the Pumper, and then if you have like me, the expansion, the Breaking Ground gives you the Thoroughbred. Okay, and I think Cycles Del. These are quite big. This one is more complex to use, but the thoroughbred is quite good. For people without extension, the expansion, the kickback is one of the best boosters. So, but usually, okay. Then, yeah, the twin bore can be used. I think this is, yes. This is for a first stage as well. This is for the ground, for atmospheric flight. It includes already some fuel. But yeah, there are many things. Remember that those here, the Whisplash, Panther, and those are for planes. So those are plane engines. Don't put those in rockets. You can make rockets fly with those. Only the atmosphere part, of course, because then it wouldn't work. But this is very, very, very hard. So this is also for airplanes. So don't use that. Aside of that, I think that's it. With that, you can do trips to the moon, to Minmus, back, do your science, yeah. And then once you learn in the sandbox, you can go back to your career and use what you learned. Okay, so that's it for today on Kerbal. Hope you liked it.